So I'm Patrick, and I'm the cluster manager at Olico. I'm a cluster manager, which specifically I'm the hotline manager for Olico. The hotline specifically is the WhatsApp hotline we have. So I'm the overall manager. I oversee management of tutors and building of, recently building of the back end of everything we do. I'm actually a PhD candidate in mathematics with University of Victoria. Yeah, so I'm studying also. So basically that is what I do for Olico. I oversee the day-to-day management of everything that happens on the hotline. Okay. So what we do, So what we do on the hotline basically is during the lockdown, the main Olico program is we usually go to schools, after school program, that's what we do. Okay. But during the lockdown, we felt that we could not reach our learners anymore. So we started creating WhatsApp groups for each school. We are in more than 10 schools across South Africa. So we started creating WhatsApp groups where each day we send them a particular lesson and they answer it and give us feedback. And we were actually getting some good feedbacks from it. So we say, why not create a WhatsApp hotline that will, cater for not just our Olico learners, but learners across South Africa. Then we started in 2020. Yeah, so we were using a different application then. We started in, 2020, July, August 2020. That was what we started doing. The service is there is that a learner sent hi to a particular number, and the chatbot responds to the learner that, hey, this is Olico Maths, blah, blah, blah. This is what we can offer you. We have basically 3 services, basically, where number one is that we offer the learners login details. So basically we have 3 main services, where the first one is we give learners login details where they go to our site. We have an Olico site where they can practice maths, and it is data free. So that's the first option. The second option is if they have specific questions, they can ask a tutor on our site. So we have tutors for 12 hours every day, where they can ask, hey, I'm having challenges with certain questions in decimal or fraction, for instance. And the tutor engage with those learners and help them with those specific questions. Then the third option is where they want to download worksheets or video. Then we direct them. There's a flow chart or a chatbot that helps them in that process. In some cases, a tutor can even facilitate that in case they have exited that thread or they have exited that flow charts. Yeah, so a tutor can facilitate that. Most recently, we've added a 4th service or option, which is something that we found very useful, is we want to create a lesson bot, simply put, where a learner sends, for instance, fraction, and we create a bot like a thread, or an automation where it sends them video. After they are done with the video, it sends them to certain questions on WhatsApp. Now, so it's like we can replicate what we have on our websites, but now on WhatsApp, So we send them video, they answer it, then we give them multiple choice questions or independent questions where they fill in their answers, and we take them through lessons. Today, I was just wrapping up a lesson bot we are trying to launch by tomorrow or next on patterns, because grade 9s are doing patterns term 2. So we'll send it like 5 lessons on patterns. Tutor is automated, everything is automated. Okay. So roughly, this is what we do. Yeah, yeah.
Patrick, and who is your target audience? I mean, it's obviously school. It sounds like high school specifically. Or what for?
Grade 7, 8, and 9. In grade 7, 8, and 9, we are looking at mainly in underfunded schools or schools in rural communities. Yeah, because most of them don't have the needed help they need in their studies. Some of them are in a class where they have over maybe 70 learners with one teacher. So sometimes they don't get the needed help. So these are our target audience.
And in the overall program, you said before 2020, you guys went to schools. How does that setup work? And do you guys still do that part of the physical tutoring?
Yes, the physical tutoring is still going on. So this is an offshoot. This is a new program that came out of that. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
And what would you do? Would you tell the kids there about the chat service, or how does the kids know about the chat service, for instance?
Okay, so we started with our Olico learners using all the WhatsApp group we formed. So we designed a pamphlet and sent it to them. Okay. So it started creating, they sent to their friends, that was how we started. And some of the employees or the staff in Olico send it to some WhatsApp group that are mainly teachers. So we used WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups. Okay. So our Facebook page, and amazingly last year we were able to help over 10,000 kids, 10,000 learners last year. So that was what we are doing. But most recently now, for the past 2 weeks, we've gone on radio, in community radios, in 2 provinces for now, in Eastern Cape and Limpopo for now. Yeah, and we printed flyers and posters, and we are putting it in some schools. Yeah.
Okay, and then language-wise, how do you handle it? Largely English, or because I mean that's such a big thing in South Africa, right? Language.
Yeah, but we are still at the phase where we go with English and Afrikaans. Okay. Because the exam is still in English and Afrikaans. So
okay. Yeah. That makes sense. And the tutors, what language would they speak? Would they be?
The tutors communicate in English.
Okay.
Yeah. So the communication is basically in English or Afrikaans. Okay. Yeah. So, but sometimes if we see a learner is struggling to speak English and the learner, let's say, is it closer, we find a tutor that can speak that language to just help the learner with that language. Yes. Okay. But officially, we help with English and Afrikaans.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. Do you guys still have the WhatsApp group? So you go to the school, do you still have the WhatsApp group, or do you now only use the chat service? How do you make that transition from because that's usually interesting, like the transition from WhatsApp on business and WhatsApp on the API. How does that part work?
Okay, so the WhatsApp group is still functional, but it's still for our in-person program in schools. Okay. So they largely don't use it for teaching and learning anymore. They use it mainly for update and information. Okay. Because they go to school every week now to engage with those learners.
How many schools do they go to?
Across South Africa, in Gauteng, it should be around 9. Okay. 9. I actually left that project more than a year ago, so I'm not following what's happening there that much anymore. So for the past 2 years, it has been a very interesting, learning experience for us. First, I would say that there are a lot of benefits, helping learners via WhatsApp. We saw that learners are comfortable to ask certain questions, even questions that make them vulnerable. Like, what is -2 times -2? Some of them are scared to ask those kind of questions in the class because they are scared of being laughed at or something. So we saw a lot of benefits. Learners have, the attention of a tutor. So these are some of the benefits we saw. But in terms of the challenge, we realized that sometimes the learners want to have a verbal conversation. Okay. Yeah, because they find it faster. They find it faster. So the app we are using before, there is provision for voice notes, where you can just click and send voice notes. I'm not sure if Ton has that. I'm not sure, though you can record and attach it as a document. Yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah. You can record and attach.
That's a very good one to know, and also because of in India they use a lot of voice notes. So it's something that, yeah, it's good to hear. That's why we want to chat to you guys to hear
Yeah.
what are the small things that will actually make a very big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So voice note is something that we are currently missing. Yeah, in on Ton. So one of the things that we found very helpful, I'm not sure if I should do a comparative analysis between Ton and the previous application we
No,
used.
you can. Some of the things aren't available on the API, but it's good to hear. Yeah, it's good to know what would help you guys be faster.
Okay, so but generally for us, one of the things we found very helpful with Ton is the automation. The automation is fantastic. For me, I find it very, very exciting to just play with it. I actually learned it like 7 weeks ago. So I did everything that we are using now. Yeah, so with the help of Manish. So I think I found the automation system very helpful, and the collection.
Okay.
The collection also is very helpful. Though I've spoken with Manish about some of the drawbacks we found, like in terms of labeling. Let's say a learner needs help with something. Let's say a learner needs help with, let's say, usernames, login details.
Yeah.
And you just want to put a label so that a coming tutor can help. Or I think what he said is that it's not possible to assign labels through the automation. You have to do those manually. So for us, that was that made the whole thing a bit very more tasking for us. So now I'm doing more of an.
Could it be something like I don't know, because the user said a certain word or they interacted with a certain menu item, maybe then as action, they should also not just send a piece of content, but also label the message. Is it with something like that, where labeling becomes like an action you can use in automation?
Yes. So labeling, yes, as an action in the automation. Yeah, I think that is one of the challenge we are having. And the second challenge, I think I've communicated that with Manish, is it has to do with the assignment. We are thinking by default, we have a collection for all conversations. Yeah, we are thinking if there will be a collection for unassigned conversation, so that tutors that are waiting to help learners, they can just focus more of their attention on the unassigned collection, where they can, so these learners, they need help, so they focus their attention there. So I think that is another drawback.
I mean, you guys chat to the learners, obviously. How do they experience, like, what is the feedback from them on the chat service?
Okay, currently we don't have a customer satisfaction survey where they tell us how the feedback. So far, we usually get learners send a message maybe at the end of the conversation that, thank you, this was very helpful. I've learned it. We get that all the time. But we are not recording the numbers, so that we usually get that most of the time. Yeah, where Elena said, thank you for helping me. I was confused about fraction, but after this conversation, I now know how to do it. And also, we usually, in our assistance methodology, we usually have what we call test for understanding. Let's say I teach a learner about fraction. I will give the learner a couple of questions to try out, just to test for understanding. And most times you see, if they struggle, you still help them further. But at the end of the conversation, you realize that they cannot solve similar questions. Yeah.
That's very cool. And do the learners come back often? Like, do you guys see the same? Is it like people almost become reliant on the line, or is it like, do they just try it out a little bit? What type of interaction do you see in terms of returning people?
Okay, so earlier today I checked on the insights. So for the past today is 19. For the past 13 days, we started on the 6th of April with Ton or so. we've had around 1,000, between 1,002 to 1,500 learners on the hotline.
Okay.
Yes, but the unique learners is 900 and something.
Okay.
So it means that the percentage of returning learners is over 50.
Okay. Yeah, we actually want to split out that total users. We'll do that at some stage where you can see from your daily users how many are returning and how many are your new. Because a service like yours, some services don't really want returning users. Like you almost want to help them, and then the hope is that they sort it. If you think about just like customer support in general, but I guess we all know that school is a continuous thing, and math is a repetition thing. So you want them to come back, right? Okay, and if you think about the service going forward, like what makes you the most excited? What are the things you want to, like what would be success for you in, I don't know, maybe 12 months time, given that you guys are started to get going, and what would you see as success?
Okay, success number one for me is the rate of returning learners. We are looking at more than 50%. And by the end of this year, we want to have minimum of 25,000 learners, unique learners on the hotline.
That's cool.
So, so far we've gotten more than 1,000 in 13 days. So I think we are still on track, and we are still working on our campaign to reach out to more learners. So for me, success is number one. From our own side, we want to see the number of returning learners to be above 50%. And also we want to see at least more than 5,000 learners complete our bot lesson, our lesson bot rather. Those lessons we create, we want to see that at least 5,000 learners start it and complete it, because you can't complete it if you don't know them. You can't go to the next level if you've not done. So that is the goal we want to set on top. Such that
Are you using threads for those lessons, or how are you approaching that?
I'm using threads,
And if somebody else comes to Turn today and they have to start off scratch, what would you suggest for them to how to tackle building a chat service, or any tips? Like, imagine someone new, I'm St. Patrick, I don't know, meet my friend and Anne is brand new, and you've just gone through all the stuff. What would be your key thing for her to get going with a chat service?
Okay, what I would say is that number one, attend the weekly trainings. That's number one. Attend the weekly trainings and make Manish your friend. Make Manish your friend. Yes, for me, those two things actually gave me speed, because 10 days before we started, even 7 days before we started up this line, there was nothing on ground. 7 days. I had to do everything within 7 days, and Manish was quite helpful.
Cool.
So I will encourage the person to attend the weekly trainings, and make sure you ask for help as soon as you can, and also utilize some of the articles. For me, some of those articles actually were very helpful for me. So I read through a lot of articles, and I actually the lesson board that I mentioned earlier, that is the fourth option. I got the inspiration from some of the articles. I saw a playbook on lessons. So I downloaded the playbook and looked at it. Then I started working on something different. That was where I got the idea from. So I think this.
Patrick, so what you must do is, once you have the lesson you're going to create that you're the proudest of, I want you to publish that as a playbook for someone else. There are so many people that do, and whether it's math or it's something, but similar to you, just sparks that moment of, if you knew, it's so intimidating if Turn is just one blank page, but if you can look, so we want to encourage that more, to say, and we can tell the stories, but it's more useful if Patrick shares with someone else. Because other people know you understand the problem. So it's great to have that. Something else I wanted to ask, are you using button messages already?
Sorry, I didn't get that part.
Are you using button messages?
Yes, I
Okay.
also use button
Because
message.
I want to say use that as much as possible, even more than a multiple choice, because you all, well,
Yeah,
I mean, it's, you can only have 3 messages. So if your multiple choice needs to be longer, you have that limitation. But button messages make it very simple for the user to respond. I mean, math sometimes, I guess they need to also provide an input, but anything like
yeah,
sending them back to menu or starting a
yeah.
thread or starting a lesson, it's just it's a very easy experience for the user, and that those kind of things also make them come back.
All right. Thank you so much, Nelky.
Okay,
Yeah,
Patrick,
thank you.
take care, and I'll see
Yeah,
you around again. It was lovely chatting to you.
it was nice chatting with you. Bye.
Bye.